Hunting After Dark is sponsored by Feral Texas Outdoors, Thermal and Night Vision Optics.
Hey guys, it's Jason here with the Hunting After Dark podcast, and of course my co-host Justin Rumley here. And we have kind of an interesting topic this time. We decided to change things up a little bit, and you were going to see us mix match companies. Normally we're usually pretty dedicated to kind of one product. Now we're going to kind of hop around a little bit because I kind of think there's a topic that's kind of starting to come up, especially here in Texas. We're starting to get into hunting season for us. Bow season opening here next month, here in October. And so a lot of guys are starting to get out there and filling feeders and deer stands and starting to get out there and starting to ask questions about maybe this is the year for thermal.
Yeah, and I agree right there with you. I believe it's one of the biggest growing sports out there, not only in Texas, but, all across the other states as well. And then, I guess we're going to call it the budget thermals of 2024 because, a lot of guys can't go in and afford a $3,000, $4,000, or $5,000 thermal, So that's kind of what we're going to cover here is going to cover the entry levels and basically how much is it going to take to get into the thermal world.
Yeah, how much money you got to spend and what's the cheap?
Yeah, I was going to say, how deep is your pockets? How big is your wallets? Or, if you're trying to, not spend everything you got, there's definitely room for everybody to get into it. Not saying you have to have $1,000, not saying you have to have $5,000. I think there's going to be room for everybody. And I think that's why the sport of thermal hunting is growing so much because of the price points nowadays. Everybody thinks that, or I say thinks that, everybody thought that thermal hunting was expensive. And then they come in here to our retail store, see the price tags and be like, holy crap, I can get a thermal for, an actual thermal scope for $795. Yeah, man, that right there is going to do everything you need for 100 yards. And then they kind of freak out.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because people don't believe us.
Yeah, they're like, nah, what's the catch here? I was like, there's no catch. That's got video recording, audio can be stored, multiple weapons can be stored on it. It can do everything you can think of that the $5,000 one can, but it's just not going to be as clear.
Yeah, it's just like, come outside, let's go look at it, let's go check it out, let's see what it looks like. Or even when we were sitting there doing Texas Trophy Hunters, we were doing the shows and all those guys couldn't believe it. We're sitting here taking out and looking at it and looking at people 100 yards away and like, oh yeah, I can see stuff.
Even though it was indoors, so it's going to look a little bit better, people were still all about it. And to this day, even the ones like Jason mentioned at the Texas Trophy Hunter shows, we haven't got yet to get any phone calls back of, well, this ain't doing what I expected it to. No, everybody knows what they're getting at the $795 price point. And, they have a realistic mindset when taking that out. And they know what they're getting. You get what you pay for at that point.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it's, it's been interesting because it's kind of when they first launched these two, AGM is the one that kind of has these affordable thermals. So I guess we're going to say the company is that AGM has 2 units. They're kind of in I would say the budget friendly type deal, but they've had version 1s of these. And we had so many people start asking about those and just asking questions. We get very few of them back. Hey, let's trade them back. Let's do this. They usually upgrade, but keep the original one and use it kind of like a handheld and a spotter, and then may go up to 3D4. Maybe someone may hop up to 640. It's been an interesting kind of phenomenon of where that goes with some of these customers, of what that progression is in thermal. And I kind of think of it like nobody sells. This is not necessarily true, but nobody really sells guns. Sometimes people keep their guns a lot of the time. They go and upgrade to something else. It's like I still have my original 243.
Oh yeah, the only bad thing about the OG guns is usually you have to go get the barrel threaded because nowadays suppressors are so fancy, and 9 times out of 10 it doesn't have a Picatinny rail on top, so you got to go take it to a gunsmith and get all the work done. But I agree.
Yeah, it's just like I got my original 243. I still is my go-to deer rifle, but I still shoot 6mm arc pretty much for everything else and more modern stuff. But that a lot of people kind of take that mentality of I'm gonna keep what I started out with, and I'm just going to upgrade. I'm not
just
going
to build your arsenal up there from there.
But yet some people still trade stuff in. That does happen occasionally where they're trading optics in, they're trading guns in, things like that. But just you kind of think about some of these people. What you started out with is not what you're hunting with now, and that's the same thing I think in this industry.
Yeah.
Is no one's necessarily hunting with something that they started out with.
Yeah, no, I agree right there with you. And like you said, they're kind of just starting at the bottom, and realistically, you can only go up from this point. There's nothing less of a scope, and like I said, there's only more of a scope. So this is kind of like the bottom of the barrel, but there's always room to work up to. And like Jason said, if you do start out in the 19 256 or the 25 256 models, oftentimes when the guys do upgrade, they keep it and use it as a monocular, or they turn it into a buddy gun, or they kind of loan it out to a buddy that might be interested in getting into the thermal hunting. So there's always going to be a benefit to the 19 256 or 25 256 after you upgrade.
I mean, it's just like kids and stuff, It's like sometimes the kids go over there and go out there and go in together. Or, how many young guys did we get? Young guys that are, in their early 20s that are just really wanting to get in and thinking that it's, you got to have this big, huge job. I mean.
Yeah, no, it's affordable. That's the biggest thing I guess you can really say is it's affordable for pretty much anybody out there.
Yeah, so it's like, how much is a decent rifle these days? Bolt action.
I was
$600-$700?
I would say more around the $400 to $500 range. You can get something. Really, it just might not be threaded barrel or anything, but you can get 243, $400 to $500. A little bit more, $500-$600 if you want threaded barrel, and like a Ruger American or something like that. But realistically, out the door, you could be hunting with a thermal for under, that's a $1,400, $1,500.
Yeah, new gun, new thermal.
Yeah,
be out there,
everything.
Be out there running around just like everybody else. Now we are going to mention some limitations of what these thermals can do and these scopes and what your expectations are. But there are different specs and things between these two, because we do get the questions always between these two models.
Yep.
Being in the Rattler V2 and going between the 19 and 25 and the 256. There are differences between the two and their capabilities and what they're able to do. So it is going to be kind of interesting for us to kind of go through it. We're going to kind of peek over these. We also have some handhelds too that we were wanting to go over, kind of on the affordable handheld side. So I have the 25 256 here.
Yep, and then this one should be the 19 256.
So just looking at it, when people ask what's 19, what's 25, that is the sensor size here on the front of these two units. So that is how big that sensor is. Of course, think of it like antennas. Bigger antennas bring in more information, bring in longer ranges. Same thing with these. Bigger sensors are going to have better detection and bring in from further distances. I do see some debates, probably more on what the 25 256 and what it realistically can do. If you're in a humid environment, and that's kind of what we're basing off a lot of this conservative estimate, because somebody up north that does not have some of these humid environments. I'm talking about these guys, Louisiana, Florida, hit around that Georgia area.
Yeah, the southern coastline for sure.
They are not going to have the same performance as somebody up north. So I don't want to see somebody from the Midwest or up north sit there and say, "Oh, I can see further." I'm like, listen,
yes,
we're trying to make,
you should be able to.
You have
at
a
that
different
point, low
environment.
humidity, colder temperatures year round. I mean, yeah, absolutely. You should definitely be able to.
Yeah, honestly, heat discrepancy is the biggest thing that helps with detection with a lot of these things. But when we get a lot of these guys that are asking, in kind of our environments, where there's a lot of hog hunters, which is all around us, all the way towards Florida, and they are asking us, how can I get into thermal? I've got the hogs tearing me up. What is it that I can get into? I see these 256 units.
Yeah.
And so we got 795 on the 19.
Yes, sir. 795.
And then what are we over here on the 25 now?
995.
995. I thought it was like $200 difference between
Yes,
these two. But what are you going to get detection wise? Like I think the 19. I mean, probably you got the one out there shooting pigs, probably 100 yards.
Yeah, I usually 19 256. I usually tell people somewhere between the 75 to 100 yard range. 100 being the max, just depending on humidity, you might be able to get a little bit further than that, but I'm not talking 150, 175. I'm talking, maybe push 120 yards. But aside from that, I usually tell people 75 to 100, because to me, that's realistic. To me, that's what I've gotten every time I've ever played with one or used one. So I can almost guarantee you 75 to 100 yards is going to be what I think is reasonable.
Now it's like when I ran the footage here of the 19, it's like, did I shoot further than 100 yards? Yes.
Absolutely.
I probably shot like 125 yards, but it was stuff that I knew and how far it was, and it was running away. I knew there was any deer running around that area. I mean, I took a shot. at something a little bit further because I saw it at 100 yards, run out to about 125 and pulled a shot
Well,
off.
like you said, if you know you're in a wide open field, there's no cows, you know the deer population of that field is low, then yeah, I mean absolutely. If there's something out there and you know there's usually pigs out there that are tearing you up, then absolutely you can take that 150-yard shot because you know, like I said, no cows, no deer, and that's 90% of the time going to be a pig out there. So yeah, absolutely, you can definitely do that, but it just depends.
Yeah, it's like I'm sitting here thinking about now with the 25, what the effective range is probably with the 25 256. I mean, I tell people 125 to 150 yards.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
I'm right there with you on that.
yeah, I mean it's. I'm going to tell you right now is we're talking about pig hunting. You want to go shoot coons in a tree. You know, some other little varmints up close. I definitely do not recommend this for varmint. Coyote hunting.
Yeah, it's
mean,
tough. It's very tough. I mean, one thing, you know, being a 25 256, like Jason said, he says 125 to 150. I usually tell people about the same. I say 150 is the max, simply because the 25 256 is a 3.5 base magnification. The 19 256 is a 2.5 base magnification. So that's it's going to allow you to make the further shots with the 25 256, but then obviously it's got the bigger lens size, so that's going to help also with the image quality and give you the further distances. But like I said, I usually tell people 150, just depending. You can probably get 170, just depending, like I said, on your temperature, your humidity, your conditions, and everything like that. And the other reason too is because it has a 3.5 base magnification, and you don't necessarily have to zoom in like you would on the 19. Because the 19 is a 2.5, and then the 25 is a 3.5. So your image is going to be already pretty narrow and zoomed in, so it's going to help you get that a little bit further distance on it.
Yeah, because you're digitally magnifying, guys. You're cutting down resolution because you're digitally. Essentially, what you're doing is you're just cropping into an image that you already see. You're cropping into like looking at a TV. You get closer to the TV, sometimes you just can't see things get blurry because you're getting so close.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's just like if you took a picture and try to crop and crop and crop until you get to a point where you can't really see anything. And that's the same thing here. You're living in a digital world. It's a digital sensor here that is putting information to a computer, putting it out into a display. You're not going to magically change anything on here that's going to make this different and make it really change. I do know some guys do like to do picture in picture.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's still pretty grainy.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of it, especially in the 256 models, because one, the picture in picture, like you said, it's grainy. So I'd rather just have me a full image without the picture in picture giving me, you know, the best image it can. So I mean, if I do need to zoom in, like I said, I will zoom in one time. But anything past one time of pressing the zoom button, it makes it very difficult to see anything. It just becomes very pixelated.
And I think AGM has some pretty fine crosshairs. Now they're having those two-tone color crosshairs. I know I like the T. I like the green T and it'll do the red dot. Right? I mean, a red plus in the middle. And I know you like that You like that green circle one with the red plus in the middle.
For some reason, I mean, running a lot of AGM units here lately, it just grown on me, and I think it's easy. I mean,
it kind of looks like an EOTech. It's like an EOTech reticle on there.
Yeah, then too, if you lower your brightness down on it, it still makes basically it pops out a lot better, even because, you know, after hours of looking through it in the night, and I usually turn the brightness down so my eye doesn't get fatigued. But even then, when turning the brightness down, you can still see that reticle clear, and basically when you go to shoot it, it's still fairly easy. You know, not taking anything away from anything else, but it just, to me, it makes it so much easier when taking a shot.
Well, that colored over that white hot target, you know, or even if you guys run black hot, I mean, it's just that contrast over top of it just makes it so much easier, especially when you're not dealing with the best resolution of thermal. It is nice to have kind of this pinpoint crosshair. And I know before in the version 1s, they did have some issues where people were complaining about being able to kind of hone this thing in. This one is better than the version 1s as far as being able to hone in their sight-in menus and what you're able to do. But do realize the limitations of what you're going to be able to do. If you're used to shooting, I'm used to shooting quarters out here, putting rounds on top of rounds.
Yeah, it's probably not going to happen.
It's not going to happen with these units.
You'll get you a good 2 or 3 inch group, but aside from that, like Jason said, you're not going to be out there stacking dime.
All right, so, and we're back, man. Got to get the lights all fixed on us. You're going in the dark.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So, but no, I mean, what we were saying was that we're not going to sit here and have if you can shoot this right here, you're going to call it good, guys.
Yeah.
If you can
No.
shoot this thing, that's going to be good. You got a heart size target, that's going to be it, guys.
No, I agree. I mean, like I said, you're gonna get a 2 or 3 inch group, but like I was mentioning, you're not gonna stack dimes at 100 yards. You might get lucky and do it one time, but if you go to try to do that on a different gun, you might not be so lucky. Like I said, 2 to 3 inch group is very realistic.
Yeah, and the reason for that is just the resolution. It's not like, oh, that's real crappy thermals. It's, you don't have enough resolution to really get that detailed. The detector's not good enough to essentially to do that kind of precision.
Yeah.
But the software is pretty good. It is a lot better than what the version 1s were and what their capabilities are. But these units, I think these are a hell of a deal. I mean, talking about $795, I mean, they give you 2 batteries here with AGM. It's these cartridge style batteries. I mean, 256 units, these things will probably last 10 hours.
Yeah,
Running them all the whole time.
I'm gonna guarantee you a full night's worth of hunting from sundown to sun up. That one battery fully charged is gonna last you, no doubt.
And we're rated over 308, so they kind of say 308, but you can probably push it just a little bit on there. So don't take my word for it there, 18. but yeah, I mean, look at that thing. The battery door's open, and it has a little locking latch in there, so that nothing's coming out. So you guys, you don't have to worry about that. Battery changes in the middle of the night. Video, audio.
Yep, takes pictures.
Recoil activated recording.
Yep, it's got pretty much every bell and whistle you can think of. It's got, even at $795 and $995, it's still got all the features that a $5,000 one.
I like the Wi-Fi
does.
streaming. Is like we ran across so many dads that were there with sons that were like, I can go out with them, and I was like, yeah, get your phone out, Wi-Fi stream to your phone, and watch them. Make sure they're lining up. I said I did that with my son Wade. He's 8 and he's out there shooting pigs. And I know our buddy Jeff there with Regan. I mean, he's over there drilling stuff all the time.
Does the same thing.
But he kind of trained him up where now he's got him on his own. But the thing is, the Wi-Fi capabilities, guys, $795 to be out there with your boy shooting pigs.
Yep,
Or
that's guaranteed.
Or we even got some of the guys that are doing some guiding, kind of amateur guiding out there that want to see what the clients are looking at. It's like, yeah, you definitely want to. You get these units and get that Wi-Fi on right now.
Yeah, that way you know for sure what's going on. And the other cool thing about them too is it comes with the American Defense mount. So it's a return to zero mount. It does have multiple zeroing profiles in here. So you can sight this unit in. I think it's up to 5 different guns that you can sight it into. So you're not obligated to keep it on one gun. Let's say you've got 2 or 3 different ARs. You can sight this in to 2 or 3 different AR platforms that you got. And as long as you swap the zeroing profile, it's going to return a 0 for you. So I think that's another cool benefit at the $795 price point that you get inside that thermal unit as well.
Yeah, I mean, these things have been very impressive on what they've been able to do here, and we have sold a ton of them. They've been really, really popular. But, we get very few complaints from guys. Just kind of know realistic expectations of what you're going to be able to do with these units. But there's all of these things packed into here. Sturdy units. I mean, we went out there and field tested them.
Yeah.
I will say it does get hard to go back down.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, going from a 5640 unit to a 19 256 or 25 256, it's almost impossible to go backwards. And, it's like one of those games that you only want to go forward, not backwards, because going backwards it's just terrible.
I will tell you,
our
Feral Texas Outdoors on our YouTube channel, we do have videos of these units in the field with us shooting pigs with it.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, there is not a lot of videos. It's very, very hard for me to go out there.
Oh yeah, and it never
run.
fails because we're going from a 5640 to the 256. It never fails. I'm almost 100% positive that's what happened with these two. Is we were running. I want to say I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was a 5640 unit. And then we had to go backwards to the 256.
Yeah, it's like, all right, they're in close.
Crazy.
They're in close. We're taking 2 guns with us, and we're like, whatever, we're going to run across. Okay, now we can do the 19 256 here, and we can go get in on these pigs on a feeder where they're sitting still and get some video. But it is hard to kind of go down to 256 resolution. So, guys, if you are someone that is running 640 and 3D4 and you're kind of wanting a buddy gun, be realistic here that you go from 640 to 256, you're a third of that resolution. And, it will be hard for you to go and jump down like that. So we do get some guys that kind of trade or financial reasons. They're like, well, I'm going to go down to this. Just kind of think it through real hard.
You're going to
know
have
what
to
you're going to get into.
sacrifice. You'll definitely sacrifice some.
and or guys that are kind of trading up from older stuff, swapping older stuff out, and things like that, and trying to kind of figure out which way they're going to go. And but it definitely is interesting here on our budget friendly. But let's talk about some of the handhelds.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we got AGM products, so we're actually going to switch over here to Rix. So Rix has brand new handhelds in their Pocket line series here. So this is a different thermal manufacturer. So Rix has come out with kind of some handhelds that kind of get you into the thermal market, and what they're doing is they have these compact units that essentially called the Pocket, which can fit right in your pocket
it literally
easily.
does. Anytime I use one, I wear cargo pants and it has multiple pockets, and it goes right into a pocket very easy.
So some of the specs on these, I have the K2 in my hand, and you have the K3.
Correct.
So just know with both of these, there is no focus ring on here. They are infinity focus. So when you see blurriness around the edges, there is no adjustment for that. That is, you are looking at a $499 handheld, and then you have a
$799.
So this one is in 256 resolution, and that one's in the 384.
Yes, the K2 is going to be a 9mm 256 lens, or 9mm lens, 256 resolution. The K3 is going to be a 15mm lens, 384 resolution. So just a little more detailed specs.
Yeah, and they're 12 micron. What I do like though in the feature, and this was what I always thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not worrying about lens caps and things. There's just a sliding cover on here that covers that sensor from getting damaged or scratched. So I think that's pretty durable here. I mean, we've thrown these things around quite a bit.
It's fallen out of my pocket a couple times, thinking I've got it in, but it don't.
Yeah, we got an 18650 battery here. It is flat top only, and that is what these run off of. And it's a quick battery swap right there. You can run external power to it.
Yeah, you can. It's
And
just
a
whether you want to.
USB-C, but I just don't really see you utilizing that. Just go charge a battery. Just go charge a battery and go run that sucker in there. Of course, the batteries, 18650, everyone asks if they're rechargeable. Yes, they are rechargeable. And it does have a little thread piece here, so you're wanting to do some recording or have it stabilized, because we do get some people that are non-hunters. We get the Bigfoot hunters, the bird watchers.
You get the interesting
the
folks.
biologist kind of things that, or even some of you guys that are looking like your go bag type guys, some of your survivalist preppers, things like that. This is something that is awesome for you. Whether if you went with the K2 or the K3, this is something that will definitely give you thermal imaging. I will tell you for like different markets here that we're looking at for the K2 is, for animal detection. I mean, this one's probably 100 yards.
Yeah, it's, I would say 100 yards max. There's really no grace for, if you have low humidity. I'm not even going to say more than 100 yards. I'm going to be very graceful and say 100.
Yeah, and if it's 90% humidity, you're not using it.
Yeah, that's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be rough. But the thing is, you will see something warm out there. Just you're not gonna be able to identify and recognize what that is, and that's kind of where we're gonna be being a little harsh on it a little bit. Is just for the fact of knowing what you're getting for $499. For $500, what are you getting for that? And this is gonna be like, I need to see there's something warm out there.
Yeah, and then
I mean, human-sized targets is a totally different conversation, but.
And then going back to the Texas Trophy Hunter shows, I know personally I sold a couple to some guys that, of course they've got their $5,000-$6,000, 5640 thermals, and they just wanted the K2 to be able to see that there was a heat signature out there. They didn't care if they could identify. They just wanted to know that something was out there. And for $500, they couldn't pass it up because they knew that they could, see the heat signature out there in the Pocket K2, and then just lean over into their actual, scope that they had and be able to identify and know what exactly that was. They just wanted something to where they didn't have to swing the gun around or, sit there and do a dance with a tripod.
Lightweight, sitting here looking around, scanning, checking things out. I mean, this is perfect for that.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree, and I agreed with them too when they mentioned to me, hey, I just want something to be able to detect heat out to 100 yards. I don't want to be able to identify. I just want to know that something's there, and the Pocket K2 is great for that. There's no better option out there for $500 to be able to see a heat signature out there. Oh, that I didn't even hear it.
Every distraction in the world. So yeah, I just don't see where somebody wouldn't do that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just like you can run some of these AGM and the 256, and then go get your handheld there, and be set to go. Or guys that are running 384. I mean, they're sitting there saying, "Well, I can't really afford another 384." They're almost like, "Well, go ahead and just go with the 256 handheld here. Go get your $500. You're spotting stuff. You're moving around. I mean, you're going to see stuff. I mean, you may see a warm blur, warm dot coming towards you. Well,
Yeah.
something's coming towards you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, in a human-sized target, I mean, that identification is going to be way out there. I mean, someone that's 5 foot plus, I mean, it's going to be easy to see.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got midgets coming after you, I don't know how well that's going to work for you, but if you
Yeah,
got-
he probably struggle a little bit, but like
yeah.
you mentioned, 384 scope. Well, you've already got that. Can't afford another 384 scope. The 256 pocket, you just need to be able to see that something's there. You can lean into your 384 scope and then be able to identify.
Now, I think something that's probably got even more popular is the K3 being
yeah.
in 384, and
Yep.
increasing some of the detection. Looking with it and taking it out, I don't quite think you can get it right to 200 yards. I think like 175.
Yeah, I think 200 is pushing it.
Real clear night,
Yeah.
perfect conditions to get 200 yards of recognition.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm going to be right there with you. I'm going to go 150, 175. 200 is being a little too graceful with it.
Because I mean, if you
It's
had a
gotta be
focus ring,
perfect.
because you had a focus ring, something to kind of focus that a little bit. With that
Yeah.
infinity focus, you just get too much blurry edges.
Yeah.
And you can't really identify some of the targets and things like that out there. But 175 yards, handheld, fit perfectly. Like I said, it's the same layout, works the same.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you're getting a 15 millimeter lens, 384 resolution, still the same size as the K2. They just put the bigger lens and getting the 384 resolution side. Still runs off of the flat top 18650 battery here, so there was no change in that. Has recording. It does have zoom. It does have kind of a rear diopter focus ring back here, so you can focus your display inside pretty well. But aside from that, like Jason mentioned, it does not have a front focus ring. So to be able to really fine tune your image is going to be difficult, just because it does have only that infinity focus ring up front.
Now, additionally to both of these units,
Yes.
they do have zoom. Now, just know these are low. The 256 is lower resolution.
Yeah.
384 is a little bit better. You do have a little more zoom option to that of being able to utilization is what I should probably say.
Yes.
But video, audio, and Wi-Fi streaming on both of these units.
Oh yeah, it's got all the bells and whistles.
So, I mean, I know the guys that are talking about whether they can use this deer hunting or not, or depending on your state, I guess, and what your regulations are. They're talking about putting these suckers up in blinds, Wi-Fi streaming to the phone, and just sitting back, or guys sitting out there at night waiting for pigs to come to feed her, or they just Wi-Fi streaming to the devices and just sitting back in a blind.
It would work. It would work just fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
you thread it right there on the for a tripod and set it up there in the window and just let it roll.
Talk about lazy hunting, but you can make it work.
yeah. So having that Wi-Fi capability, and then also, it's always cool to record people when we've recorded ourselves out in the field. Going out there and hunting and shooting at stuff. I mean, it's been fun to be able to record with a handheld that's nice, lightweight, compact.
Yeah,
And
no, I agree with you there.
And then tons of features with it. I mean, that's what's nice about some of these more on the affordable thermal side is they still have all the features that all the big boy stuff has.
Yep.
I guess I probably just insulted some people saying this big boy,
Yeah, I
big
think-
boy stuff. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
that'll be okay, but
Hey, everybody. Hey, there's something for everybody. Let's just say it that way. I mean,
absolutely.
not everybody's rolling in the dough here, and that is perfectly fine. But you can still go out and have just as much fun as everybody else.
Yeah, and being under $1,000, like we mentioned, the Pocket K3 $799, Pocket K2 $499. So you're still well under the $1,000 price point.
I mean, how many times do we have guys ask, what are you running? What are you running? I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I could be running anywhere from $800 thermal all the way up to a $12,000, $15,000 thermal.
Yeah,
I
anything
said,
at that point.
But they're asking me this, and I was like, well, how many pigs can you kill? Blah blah blah, kind of this thing back and forth. And I was like, I can kill just as many pigs with the $800 thermal as I can that $15,000 thermal. I can kill the same amount of pigs.
It's what type of hunter are you?
Yeah.
Are you going to sit back and snipe them from 200 yards, or are you going to get up close and personal 50 yards with them? At that point, yes, it matters, but then again, it doesn't. It kind of just comes down to, okay, what kind of hunter are you?
Because I mean, what 90% of the guys when they tell you, hey, we're going to go out there and go shoot some pigs tonight,
Yeah.
how close do you usually get? Well, Under 100 yards. Like, well, all right. Well, you're set to go, man. This is all you need. Spend $800 and you're gone.
Yeah. Now,
And-
do you want to be able to count the eyelashes on them at 100 yards? Okay, now you might need to move over here to this section. Or do you want to know that's a pig within 100 yards and be able to kill them? Okay, here. Now, this is more of what you're
because I mean,
kind of
our
looking
average
for.
shots on pigs are 50, 60 yards. A lot of times we like to try to get in there and get on top of them. That way, when they're running, we're able to get multiple shots.
Yeah.
You get guys kind of close together and then be able to. I mean, once you're right on top of them, I mean, they don't move too fast. I mean, some of them move pretty good, but
Oh, yeah, some
I
are
like
in and
catching-
out quick.
I like catching them 300-pounders, and the old fat ones can't get away.
Yeah, dragging the gut on the ground and can't move too well.
Is it like, yeah, it may take a couple bullets to take them down, but I like those slow movers. I'll
yeah.
throw one of them, and then I'll go work my way to the rest of that group.
Yeah,
But-
I agree with you there.
But you know, $800 thermal, perfectly fine, able to go shoot pigs. I mean, everybody asked me about that, and I was like, I can just shoot just as many pigs with this thermal as I can, that 640 or that 1280 or that 1024. I'm gonna shoot the same amount of pigs.
Yep, I
no matter
agree.
no matter what, and still have a blast doing it.
Yep. And then if you don't really want to go into a high end handheld, you know, like you said, if you already got the 640 scope, you've already got the 384 scope, these two are going to be essentially the go-to handheld for you, you know, to keep you under the $1,000 price point. You've already got the higher end scope. I would definitely highly suggest you take a look at these because, you know, like people mentioned to me, they get tired of swinging the gun around on the tripod. They get tired of carrying it around and throwing it up to look around.
Well, I mean, I don't know how people do that on a buggy.
It's impossible.
I mean, that's just you got gun. Let's say you got it slung, or you had it sitting in your lap. You're driving pedals, moving the steering wheel.
Yeah.
I mean, stop, go, pull it up. No, nothing's here. And,
And,
then start driving
guys
again.
do it. Guys do it. You know, they'll tell me firsthand that that's what they do. I'm like, come on, man. I was like, here, let's take a look at these. These are not gonna, you know, be as good as your scope like we've just talked about. But you're gonna know that something's there to where it's gonna give you the time to step out the buggy, put your gun on the tripod, take a look. Okay, it's a pig. Boom, take a shot. You know, do what you do from there. But make hunting easy on yourself.
Yeah,
You know, without. You know, the hard work and, you know, waking up sore the next day because you got to lug your gun around, throw it up every time.
Not everybody's a big old hoss to be able to go do that all night long. I mean, and there's some younger guys out there being able to do that, but I will tell you
crazy.
why, man. Just save up a little bit of money.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
go put that $50 paycheck away and save up and go get you a handheld that's $500. Or hell,
Yeah.
you want a little bit better, go spend you about $800 and save yourself time and effort. Because that's the thing too, is that you're swinging that gun around, you're stopping, you're going, or your buddy's trying to do that, and everybody's in the cab, or you're trying to get around the roll cage, or hell, guys, they're in a vehicle.
Yeah,
I mean, they're
makes
having
it
to roll the
even
window
harder.
down. You can't see out the front windshield, so they're sitting there pointing out the window. You look like a poacher running around out there
Yeah.
with your gun pointing out the
Game
window.
warden what are you doing? I'm just looking, I promise.
Now, who was it that was telling me they were constantly pointing the gun out the window and got caught? There's somebody that was telling me this the other day. I
Yeah.
cannot remember
You're
who it was
asking
now.
for
It's
it
going
at
to drive
that
me crazy.
point.
Yeah, it's like someone pulled up behind him and was like, well, I'm just scanning the field. Well, hell, you're pointing the whole gun out the window. What do you think? They
Yeah,
think you're out there going to be drilling
Yeah,
deer
I promise
here.
I ain't shooting that. I'm just looking.
Yeah, because everyone's going to be getting out here in the fall, man. There's no game warden in the world that's going to believe you out here in the
I'd be
fall
like,
of deer
"Ah,
season.
I think you're full of it, man. You're definitely fixing to shoot something.
Yeah,
But
yeah. So getting here with the handheld like this, you know, no one's gonna see it out the window. Just gonna see you sitting there driving slow with a handheld
Yeah, it
looking
might
out.
save you a lot of time and a lot of money and, you know, less confrontation with any kind of law enforcement.
Yeah, so good. You know, things that you miss because you're not swinging that gun around or you're tired or whatever. You know, the things you may miss and not see when you're running around on places going and scanning.
Yeah.
It's good to have a handheld. It's good to have a scanner. Admittedly, I don't have to be the best one in the world, but your success rates, I guarantee you, will be up a lot higher. Hell, I mean, I didn't even think about, you know, stalking up on stuff. I mean,
Makes it
if you-
easier.
If you've got sticks and something, I mean, I do run a strap or sling, whatever, and sling my gun and hold my sticks, and I always have a handheld.
Yeah.
So I can walk up right up on top of them pigs. I can see, oh well, she's got her nose up. She got her nose up. She's looking at us, you know, even
Just
though
helps
wind's
you
in our
out. It gives
favor.
you the advantage at that point.
Yeah, I mean, we sit there and know what's going on and see what's going on, see everybody else, see the environment, and I can tell you it is a big help going out there and running around hunting. So I'm trying to think of what else we did probably not cover between these products. I mean,
I think we covered the base.
scopes and handhelds. What
Yeah.
you do, what's the best way to use them. You know, how many of these guys also do we know that they just use the 256s as handhelds? And
Oh, there's
just
a bunch
skip
of
out?
them. There's a bunch of them that because that one that they when they're hunting by themselves, deer hunting, pig hunting, anything along those lines, they're running a 256 as a handheld, but then they also have it simply because if a buddy wants to go or their son wants to go, they have a backup scope. They have a buddy gun. So a lot of guys just kind of skip the handheld and go straight to a actual dedicated scope in the 256 model, just because they have a backup scope if they need it, or a buddy gun, or a binocular.
It's not overly big. I mean, you can take that mount off and run this thing, or you can go snap it on a gun. I mean, so we do get some guys that's like, well, it's $800 for that 3D4. I can go down a little 256 and have a scope, and those are some of the mindsets some of these guys have, about looking at a secondary scope or a handheld. I mean, so we do see that very, very, very often.
Oh yeah, quite a bit.
Buying on the 256 scopes.
Yeah, no, I agree right there with you, man.
Yeah, so I mean definitely interesting, guys. There's no excuse now. Tell us that, I get guys coming here all the time. It's like, oh man, I can't afford that. Well,
it's under $1,000.
Everybody can save up about $800. We do layaway, we do some financing, we do a little bit of sizzle. We'll do 4 equal payments, right? Well, we got it down $200 interest free.
Yeah,
that's
you
right.
Can't forget. We'll definitely get you taken care of. Say budget friendly, under $1,000. The Pocket K3 is at $799. The Pocket K2 is at $499. These are strictly monocular only. Can't sight these in.
And you're not helmet mounting these things, guys.
No.
I want to tell you that right there, that little hole is not enough to sit there and hold this sucker up. That little thread pattern. So don't tell me you want to try to helmet mount these things. They don't flip over. They don't reverse image, nothing like that. Because I have had some questions on the
these are straight.
Pockets.
Pull out of your pocket, scan, put it back in your pocket. See if something's out there, and that is it. And then budget-friendly thermal weapon sights that you can sight into any gun essentially under a 308. We got 19 256, $795, 25 256, $995. All 4 options here are going to keep you under the $1,000 range. So don't say that oh well everything's over $1,000, because those days are long gone. Now you can get into the thermal world. Actually, weapon sight scope. Under $1,000, coming in at $795 at the lowest price point.
Yeah, I think that's going to be it for us, guys.
Yep. Be sure to check us out on Hunting After Dark podcast on Spotify and Apple. You can check us out on YouTube at Hunting After Dark podcast as well, and send us an email or check us out on the website at huntingafterdarkpodcast.com. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.